Hello all, and welcome to 9.9 Comics with Kyle, and I am Kyle. Chris is feeling a little bit under the weather today, so we are going to be moving on without him. We must move on to preserve the holiness of collecting comics. So today we are going to start off with, first off, this is always Chris's part, I always forget to do this part. These are all comics for comic releases for September 19th, 2018. So this coming up Wednesday. Free comic book day, not free comic book day, new comic book day. Starting off with DC Comics, Pearl number 2 of 6. This is the DC Brian Michael Bendis new storyline that just came out and did phenomenal. It got 9s and 10s across the board, and everyone loved it. I personally didn't read it, but that doesn't make it not a big deal. So you're gonna want to pick up number 2 and not miss out on the storyline, because in the future, when there's gonna be a movie, because it already looks like a movie, you'll be on top of things. And that's really it for DC. Moving on to Marvel Comics with this one's interesting. Stay with me on this one, guys. Infinity Wars, Soldier Supreme, number 1 of 2. That's right. Look at it. That's Captain America as the Sorcerer Supreme. Infinity Wars, classified 4F by the military. Stephen Rogers was unable to serve his country in World War II until a secret government program tapping into arcane sorcery transformed him into the Soldier Supreme, the magical warrior embodiment of the American spirit. So, this is gonna be good stuff, guys. It's written by Jerry Dugan, art by Adam Kubert, so there's some power there, and cover art by Humberto Ramos. And this is, you're gonna see me picking this one up because you can't miss out on magical Captain America. And moving on, are going to move into Image Comics. There's not much for the big two this week. With Gideon Falls, number 1 director's cut. And yes, Gideon Falls did very well. It got picked up for, I believe, was it a Netflix movie or a Netflix show? Series. Yeah, that's right, a Netflix series. And I mean, right when I read issue 1, I was like, if this doesn't become a movie or a TV soon, then I'm quitting comics, because then the entire reason that we do all of this has failed. We need things visualized. That's not the real reason, you know, I'm kidding. But after selling out multiple print runs, Jeff Lemire and Andrea Sorrentino's smash hit thriller Gideon Falls gets a special edition of his explosive first issue in glorious black and white. Also collecting the first issue script, the director's cut is a must-have for fans of one of 2018's hottest new series. They don't waste paper on comics that don't matter, guys, to make director's cuts. You want to pick this up, especially for if you like reading it, because it's a really good series and I'm in love with it. Moving on to IDW Publishing, we have G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero, Silent Option, number 1 of 4. This is written by Larry Hama and Ryan Ferrier, art by Nitho Diaz and Kenneth Lowe, and cover art by Nitho Diaz. Silent Option, part 1 of 4, following in the bloody footsteps of the smash hit Dawn of the... I had a problem reading this earlier. Arashikage, whatever. Story arc. Living legend Larry Hama brings us the newest chapter in breakout character Dawn Moreno's G.I. Joe journey, and her first unofficial mission as a Joe may very well be her last, and nobody will ever know, because when Agent Helix is involved, the only option is the silent option. The return breakout character of Dawn Moreno, Snake Eyes, to the pages of G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero. So, it's the return of Snake Eyes. This is a big deal. That's the reason to pick it up right there. It's a return. It's a G.I. Joe comic book. The IDW usually does well with Joe comic books. Moving on, out of IDW, we have Dick Tracy, Dead or Alive, number 1 of 4. That's right, old people. Dick Tracy is back. IDW Publishing proudly presents the rebirth of one of the most iconic comic strip heroes of all time, Dick Tracy. The all-American detective just made the biggest collar of his career, and it only cost him his job. But now the honest cop has packed his bags for the city by the lake, and its criminals better watch out. Reimagined for the 21st century through a retro lens by the superstar team of Michael Allred, Lee Allred, Rich Tomaso, and Laura Allred. Dick Tracy, Dead or Alive, is a lock to be the pop art event of 2018. So you're gonna want to look out for this one, guys. All right, moving on to Oni Press. We have a one I'm interested in. Rick and Morty presents Sleepy Gary #1, cover A, done by CJ Cannon, I believe. Does cover A. Written by Magdalene Visaggio and art by CJ Cannon and Nick Filardi and cover art by CJ Cannon. And yeah, Sleepy Gary may be a parasite, but when Jerry is with him, he's happy. Does it matter if it does it matter if it isn't really real? That's hard to say. Can either of them even know what's real anymore? Explore the nuances of love, perception, and high-speed Vespa chases in this darkly funny and poignant one-shot written by Magdalene Visaggio from Kim and Kim and Eternity Girl and illustrated by series artists CJ Cannon and Nick Filardi. So I mean, it's a Rick and Morty comic book, and those hold their weight. Moving on to Dark Horse Comics, we have Olivia Twist #1. That's right, Olivia Twist, not Oliver Twist. To save a boy she barely knows, teenage orphan Olivia Twist joins the Esthers, a ragtag girl gang of thieves running free in a dangerous future. Olivia's life in this imminent London of internment camps and strange technology gets even more complicated when she discovers that she has more power and wealth than she's ever dreamed of, but it comes at a great cost. So this looks interesting. I don't know if it's gonna be like steampunk or if it's gonna be kind of like future, like that future Victorian, which I guess is steampunk. I forget what the actual there's another genre that's kind of like steampunk, but it's not steampunk. Anyway, it looks to be pretty interesting, especially when I first saw it, I thought it was just going to be Oliver Twist as a girl, but it's also in the future, so it's pretty cool. I like it when they do more than one hook. Moving on, we have Patience, Conviction, Revenge, #1. And this is out of Aftershock Comics, written by Patrick Kindlin and art and cover art by Marco Ferrari. Ooh. New series, disregarded, disrespected, and dismissed. Rennie has a chip on his shoulder. Once an equal partner in a criminal syndicate that rules Las Vegas, he now finds himself living in a shack in the desert. But the shack has a workshop, and Rennie's been busy. It's time to march his robot army into the neon hell of cyberpunk Vegas and retake his seat at the table. Or take the wood from the table and rebuild enough caskets for the whole syndicate. Old friends better run because Operations Patience, Conviction, Revenge is underway. Like an Elmore Leonard novel set in the world of Blade Runner, Patience, Conviction, Revenge is offbeat and often funny, but all about the dark corners of cities and minds. A violent criminal genius with a bad case of monomania makes, I don't know what that is, for the most fun you'll have with a comic this year. So it sounds like something insane, and I like insane. Insane's fun. And it's a new series, and it's Aftershock, so Aftershock has proven themselves in the past couple years as a very, very, very good place to buy your comics from. Moving on to Boom Studios, we have Over the Garden Wall, Hollowtown #1. That's right, Over the Garden Wall, the hit Cartoon Network show, is getting a comic book written by Celia Lowenthal, art by Jorge Monlongo, and cover art by Celia Lowenthal. John Wirt, Greg, and Beatrice on an all-new adventure in the unknown as they stumble on a small town inhabited entirely by eerie porcelain doll people. After Greg loses a shoe in to a pond turtle, it's up to Wirt and to earn money for a new pair, leading him to babysit some doll children that may cause Wirt to stay in town forever. So it's from usually comics about really popular, especially short run, because it didn't last very long. Cartoon Network shows, they're big deals. So you want to pick that up. Which brings us to the 9.9 no-brainer! I wish I could yell in Chris's ear. It's sad not having him here to scream at. But today's a really big deal, guys. It's a big deal for DC, and also for new writers altogether trying to write for DC and not being constrained by plot lines and story arcs. Batman Damned, #1 of 3. So this is the first DC Black Label comic to ever be released, and DC Black Label is basically uncanon adult DC stories. So they can separate from not only from adult and children, so they can put out the more edgy stuff, but to also separate, have some fun with their characters and not be so constrained by the rules. DC Black Label, the highly anticipated new imprint from DC Comics, starts here. The Joker is dead. That's right. See, they start out like they just killed the Joker. Page 1, Joker's dead. The Joker is dead. There is no doubt about that. But whether Batman finally snapped his scrawny neck or some other sinister force in Gotham City did the deed is still a mystery. Problem is, Batman can't remember, and the more he digs into this labyrinthine case, the more his mind starts to doubt everything he's uncovering. So who's better to set him straight than John Constantine? I'm excited about this. Problem with that is that much as John loves a good mystery, he loves messing with people's heads even more, which is true. So with John's help, the pair will delve into the sordid underbelly of Gotham as they race toward the mind-blowing truth of who murdered the Joker. Batman the Damned is a bi-monthly supernatural horror story told by two of comics' greatest modern creators, a visceral thrill ride that proudly puts the black in Black Label. This is written by Brian Azzarello and art and cover art by Lee Bermejo. This is already back order out of stock. You comic bookstores cannot order any more of these copies. So that means that everyone already, all the comic book stores bought as many as they could, which is a really good sign. So if you're just with us, that's what that back order out of not stock means. And it also means that you're probably most likely going to see some second and third prints. It's also a diamond. It's a diamond gem of the month as well. So those are some pretty heavy reasons why we made it the 9.9 no-brainer. And after that, we are going to move on to the honorable mentions. Today's honorable mentions is Batman #55, and there's some speculation on that. Just know that it's important to pick up this issue because there could be some groundbreaking things happening to the Batman universe. Edge of Spider-Geddon #3, Mr. and Mrs. X #3, John Wick #3, Lost City Explorers #4, Seven to Eternity #11, Sword of Ages #5, Skyward #6, Venom #6, and Venom First Host #4. Thank you for sticking with us today and for always, guys. We really appreciate your loyalty, and remember to like and subscribe, comment, all that stuff, dislike if you hate it, and have a good night, I guess. You're welcome, Chris. Get better. I gotta edit this now.